everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. Welcome back to another Sunday sew along. I'm not sure, honestly, which order I'm putting these into, so I'm kind of filming two Sunday sew alongs, kind of simultaneously. One being the vest, and it's a sew with me, not a sew along, it's a sew with me. One being the vest and tie, and the other one being the pants. My plan is to put out the vest and tie first and then the pants second, but I'm not sewing them in that order because I had white thread on my machine. So I went ahead and made I'm making my son two pairs of the Wardrobe by Me Chino pants. And I went ahead and made the seersucker ones yesterday off camera just so I could, actually assess because I did some adjustments to the pattern for his, for fit for him. Wonderful. They work really, really well. So I'm going to be sewing the second pair, which are the blue pair here with you today. But because it's like fresh in my mind, I wanted to go ahead and do the second pair of pants now. So I'm filming that first, and then I'm going to film the vest and tie. So I'm just not sure which order this is coming out. So whatever order this is coming out, I hope you're enjoying these. Okay, so today I am going to do just like I did last week and maybe the week before, depending on when this comes out. The other sew with me's is that I'm going to just kind of show you sped up version. I'm working on my industrial today again, mostly because I am in the thick. I'm doing a ton of sewing, and I have a TV in this room, so I can have it on and be listening to that while I'm working. My Bernina is in the filming studio, and my sew-alongs, because there's a sew along coming to you the beginning of June, beginning of May. What month is it? I don't know. And I can't tell you a bit more about that yet, but it's one that's coming on the beginning of May. And then I'm going to be doing a sew along for my daughter's McCall's dress that is somewhere on the floor over there. So those sew-alongs are coming, and those are going to be like my traditional sew-alongs that I do. The dress for my daughter is going to be broken up into multiple weeks, and then the secret one is just a 1 weeker. So that's exciting. Anyway, all that to say, that's why I'm on my industrial, so that I've got access to my TV and I'm closer to my pressing station and all that. Because the Bernina lives in the filming studio, because that's the one I do for my sew-alongs and tutorials and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm on the industrial, and I've just kind of missed my industrial. Now, that being said, I have been doing all of my buttonholes on the Bernina, and it is a phenomenal machine. Very impressed. So you are going to see a lot more videos of me over on the Bernina. So just giving you a mix here. Okay, so for today, I'm going to, again, speed this up and just making these pants. It really isn't that long of a make, but I am going to highlight how I do my fly, which I think is very similar to the way they do the fly in the instructions. I didn't even bring my computer down to look at the instructions for this pair because I just made one yesterday. I glanced at them, yesterday. And then I'm going to show you how to do the welt pockets in the back, which are different than like a welt pocket in like a jacket. But I will show you that technique when I do the vest. So you may have already seen it. I don't know. Anyway, those are the two that I'm going to slow down and kind of show you as we go along. And everything else, I'll just kind of power through. But I'm going to go ahead, and everything is interfaced. And I have serged all of my pocket edges. So this pattern has facings that go on the pocket edges. So I've got the raw edges all serged on those, and on the back welt pocket pieces as well. Everything's interfaced, and I've marked on my pocket bags for the back, I've marked my welt bag. You can see that box there, which is going to be important. And I've also gone ahead and sewn the darts in the back. So adjustments that I made to this pattern. So there's the back, that's the right side. I've sewn my dart, and then on the wrong side, I've got my 4 points for my pocket. So my son needed a size 27 for the waist and a size 30 for the hip. So, which the number corresponds with the waist size. But he needed the hip that goes with the size 30 because he is a soccer player and has a meaty rear end. He's got a muscular rear end. So he needs a lot more room in the hip than he does for his waist. So what I have done, I left the front completely alone. I just cut the straight size 30 because I just don't want to mess with those pockets. That can grading between sizes when you've got like slash pockets can be such a nightmare. So I just went ahead and did the straight size 30. And then on the back, I took in, let's see, I took the darts in an extra inch, so half of an inch on each side. So I lost 2 inches there. And then I took the side seams in each a half of an inch. So I needed to lose 3 inches total. So that's what I did. So the back, like right here at the side seam, this was supposed to come up a little bit straighter like this. So I shaved off half of an inch there. And then I took an extra inch out of the dart. So I went at half of an inch on either side of the dart. And I extended my dart just a little bit so that it wasn't such a drastic point. So that's the alterations I've made. This pattern does have, the fabric has stretch. The seersucker pair I made did not. So this will be nice and comfortable for him because he's got a little bit of extra stretch. Okay, so that's what we've got going right now. Let me switch to overhead view and let's get these welt pockets done. All right, so this is where we are headed. Now, I have a couple of, this is actually really easy too. So there's my welt pocket, all nice and neat. I mean, is my stitching perfect over here? Nope. Are we okay with that? Yep. But yeah, there's the inside of the pocket. Here it is from the back. All nice and neat. I've chosen a cotton lawn for my pocket bag linings. It's just nice and thin. And this was a great color underneath the seersucker because it's nude to him. So yeah, did that. Now, this pocket piece is supposed to match up to the top of the pant, but because I took so much more of a dart in at the waist, his waist seam dips here. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to trim the excess off of that pocket bag and call it good. These didn't dip in the back or anything for him. Look at that dart. You just have a lot of excess. And I kept pressing wrinkles in when I was putting this in. So, yeah, and they're cotton. I mean, it pressed out. But yeah, we're dealing with a little bit of a bubble butt here. So that is where we're going with this pattern. Obviously, the dart goes through the middle of that welt pocket. So let's pull the other side out, and I'll show you how to do this. All right, so I have sewn my dart, pressed it towards center back, and I have my spots marked for my pocket. Now, mine are not going to match up because I've increased my dart, so that's made these closer together than what they should be. But I'm just using them as a general guideline, and I'll show you that when we get there. So that's what my back looks like right now, but we're not doing anything with it quite yet. What we need is our, not these scissors. What we need is our pocket bag, and I have, hopefully you can see, my pin was dying, but I've marked my box from the pattern with a friction pin. I just put a pin through the pattern and marked my 4 corners and then took a ruler to draw it in. It's a 3/8 of an inch box, and I think it's like 5 1/4, but I just marked my notches and then made sure it was all square. So I've marked that in with a friction pin on the pocket bag, on the, wrong side of the pocket bag. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it over. So I want I mean, you can kind of see it through, but I've marked it on this side at the top, and I'm just going to flip it over here. Okay, and just on one end. So what I'm going to do first is I want to put my, pocket facing here. You've got notches that match up with the top of that pocket facing, the middle of the pocket, or the bottom of the pocket facing, and then the middle of the pocket facing, the notch there. I'm just going to line that up. On one end, and I'm going to sew. I've serged both these ends. I'm just going to sew it down on each side. And I'm going to do the same on the other end. Okay, so these are wrong sides, wrong side of the facing to the right side of the pocket bag. okay? Or the inside of the pocket bag. Because I guess if you wanted pretty fabric, then you would put it on the other side, but you get what I'm saying. This is going to be the inside of the pocket. This whole area is the inside of the pocket. So, wrong side of the facing to the right side of the pocket bag. So I'm just going to do that real quick. I'm just going to sew. I've matched up my notches here, and I'm just going to sew these in place on either side, and then I'll come right back. Okay, so I've got my facings attached to my pocket bag. This is going to be, I've got my box here on the wrong side. So now I am going to put my pants right side up. So I'm putting my pocket facing and my pants right sides together. So I am matching up, again, this doesn't match great. I'm kind of centering this in between my dart bulk, but this is because I've made adjustments to my pattern. So I'm going about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch here at the center back above. But basically you're lining up your pocket bag right here in the center of the back. And then you want your points here to be close to, I think I've gone up a little too high. So I'm just taking this and looking and making sure that those are at least in line with my dots that are on the wrong side. You can stick a pin through there if you want, just to keep everything on the up and up. And I'm just popping a pin. And again, my pocket bag goes quite a bit past the point, just because I took a bigger dart. And my pocket bag fills this back, but it probably shouldn't because I had to take in, the 1/2 inch on each side for him. Okay. So we basically just want it even here at the top. So I have about the same gap that's here, and then it seems to be pretty straight here, keeping in mind that my top of my pant now dips, and it shouldn't have. I'm also trying to, because I'm dealing with a lot of dart here. So I'm also dealing with kind of a curve area here. All right. So once we have it generally pinned in place, I'm going to take and I'll take you over to the machine for this, but I'm going to take my machine down to a 1.5 stitch length, and we are literally just going to sew around this box. So let's go to the sewing machine and do that. Okay. So like I mentioned, I've set this at a 1.5 stitch length, which is a really short one. And I'm going to start somewhere kind of in the middle of one side of the longer side, so that I'll connect back, up that. Don't catch your finger on the pins. And I am pulling this kind of towards me because, again, I have a big curve here for that dart for his rear end. You can probably barely see my lines, but I'm literally following the line that I drew. And when I get to the point, I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to pivot. And I know 3/8 of an inch at my 1.5 is 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, well, I got caught on my pen. That was a no-no for me. Okay. We're good now. All right. Now we're going to sew back along our line. To the next point. 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops. I went one extra. That's okay. And then back to our starting point, like so. So I've now sewn a box. So I'm going to pull. Oh, geez, I thought I'd folded the pant under. We're good. Slight panic. We're fine. So now I just want to look on this side and make sure that I didn't get anything caught up weird. Everything looks good. I'm a little above my notches there, but that's fine. Okay. As you all know, I'm not a perfectionist. All right. So now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to pinch a section here. And, well, I'm going to do it down here. Maybe not in the dart. So I'm just folding that in half so I can get started cutting. This can be scary, but not really. It's just fabric. All right. Now I'm just going to cut through the center of this box. Make sure you're not cutting something you don't want to cut. And then when I get about, I don't know, half an inch away, 3/8 of an inch away, I'm going to cut 2, but not through this corner, and 2, but not through that corner. And then I want to sew back the other, or cut back the other way. Same thing. Got my hand back here just to make sure I don't cut something I don't want to. Okay, so now we've cut that X. So now we're going to take the entire pocket bag piece and stuff it through there. So we're pushing everything to the wrong side. Okay, now I'll go back above and show you what we're doing. All right, so I'm pulling everything through to the wrong side. And now it's all about pressing. Okay, so everything is pulled through now to the wrong side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the ironing board, and I'm going to press this seam open that I cut just to give it a nice crisp edge. And then I'm going to press this seam open to give it a nice crisp edge. And then I'll come right back here and show you the next step. All right, so I've given it a good press, everything. We've got a hole. And I've given it a good press on the front and the back. As I said, I'm going to get a lot of wrinkles here, but we'll get those all pressed out when everything is done. So I've got a couple of wrinkles here. I don't want to cut too much further in. I think I just need, this fabric has stretch to it, so it's also being weird under the iron. But I'll give that a good press again, and that should be fine. Okay, so that's what the step we're at now. So next, we are going to do some more pressing. A lot of pressing at this stage. We are going to take our pocket bag and push it all the way up. And I want to press this straight across like so. So I'm pushing this right up. There's my stitching line. And I just want to give this a good press up. And then we're going to pull it back to where the fold now, so there's my window. The fold stops right at the top of that window. So you are essentially folding a pleat. It's a 3/8 of an inch pleat, actually. Okay. And we're going to give that a really good press. That is the back part of our welt. So again, we're going to press all the way up, and you can press that seam allowance down and press that straight. And then you can see my crease line here where I folded it back down. And then we're going to give it a really good press like so. So that looks like that from the front. So that's the top part of the, well, I'll press and then I'll show you. Okay, so go to your ironing board and press that, and then we'll come right back. All right, so I've pressed my pleat in. There's the back. And then from the front, I told you it's going to look a hot mess for a minute. That's okay. There's the top. So we've created the welt. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sew, make sure that your pocket bag is all down, down towards the bottom of the pant. So we're now going to sew just along the bottom edge of the welt. Okay. And I don't want to go all the way to the corner because I'm actually going to connect up to that and sew around the bag, around the rest of the box as soon as the pocket gets flipped up. So I'm going to start, from one end to the other. And sew all the way across the bottom and stop before I get to the corner. Now, if you're a perfectionist, you probably don't want to backstitch there. I do backstitch there because I don't mind matching my top stitching up and then finishing around. But if you want to pull threads to the back and tie them off, that's probably the best way to do it. But I just backstitch. Okay, so let's go to the machine and sew that line of stitching. Okay, I have my stitch. Oh, I just unthreaded my machine. I have my stitch length up to a 2.5. Okay, so I've got my machine set at a 2.5. Again, I'm not going all the way to the corner, but close to the end. And I am writing the inside of my foot right along the fold here. So I'm pretty close to the edge. Again, want to make sure everything's lying flat underneath. Okay, let me trim my threads since I had to rethread. Okay, so there we go. So we've sewn a line of stitching there along the bottom. Okay, now let's go back above. All right, so we have our line of stitching there at the bottom. We have a mess with the wrinkles, that's okay. So now we're gonna flip it over. So we've sewn that down there. Now we're gonna take our pocket bag, the bottom of our pocket bag, and it's gonna come up to the top, and you're gonna match the top of your pocket bags and then give it a real good press to press that crease. And then we're gonna sew and serge down each side. So let me go give it a good press and I'll meet you back at the machine so we can sew each side of our pocket bag. Okay, I like to start at the top of the pocket bag and sew down to the bottom because we have that fold that we pressed in. And when you sew from the top to the bottom, it doesn't catch on that fold and push it up. So we're just gonna push our pants out of the way. We're only sewing through the pocket bag pieces. The seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter. So I'm just and then I'm gonna sew down the other side. Just the pocket bag. Like so. And now I'm going to go to the serger and I'm going to serge both of those edges, but I'm going to leave really long tails. Oops, about unthread my machine again. I'm going to leave really long tails here at the bottom so that I can tuck those back in. And up here at the top, I'll just cut them off. So let me go serge and I will meet you right back here. All right. So I've given everything a really good press. That looks much better. I made it a little shiny, but that's okay. And here's the back, all serged and finished off. So now the next step is that we are now going to start where we stopped here. And I like to go a little bit on the bottom because we have to be able to get into our pocket, but I like to anchor it a little bit. Anchor it here. I'm going to go up around the top, back down, and then anchor it again here. And then our pocket will be good there. And then I'm going to baste the top of the pocket in, but I'm going to sew it 1/4 of an inch from the edge of my pant, not from the pocket edge. And then I'll just trim that pocket like I did on the other one. So let's go to the machine, finish top stitching, baste the top of the pocket in place, and then we'll be done. All right, I'm going to baste the top of the pocket in first. And again, I'm going 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of my pants, which is the edge of my presser foot. So my seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch, which is why I'm doing 1/4 of an inch. Then I can just trim my pocket flush with my pants. And now that's all good to go for that. Okay, now let's top stitch our pocket. So we're just going to start down here. There we go. We've sewn in, not perfect, but you know what? It's better than anything we could buy. Yeah. There's our welt pocket from the front. And there it is from the back, because the line at the bottom is hidden in that pleat that's back there. So there we go. Welt pocket's done. It's really close. I will put you on fast forward while I put the back of the pants together and get the front pockets and stuff done. And then I'll come back and show you how I do my zip fly. So I've got my fronts separately done. So the pockets are in. This is pretty easy. Putting those in, just putting your facings in. I've got pockets. I have my interfacing on the fly. I have just the fly edge serged, and then I tucked my threads back up into the threading. I always get questions like, how do I serge this without cutting into anything? Very carefully. Yeah, I just kind of run it through the serger, and when I get to this point, I kind of fold this back part out of the way and then serge off. Have I caught this part in the serging before? Yes, I have. You just have to do it very carefully. You could also bind it. But I've done that to both sides, and I've marked from center front down to the zipper point on this one side, which is the side that'll be up when I'm sewing. All right, so we're going to do our fly now. So I've got those. I've finished my back, which that was just a matter of sewing the center back seam. So my back, that's everything together. Back is all ready to go. We need our fly shield pieces. There's 2 with this pattern. Oh my goodness. They're both interfaced. I'm going to sew along this curved edge at the seam allowance and then just trim my seam allowances like in half. Then turn it right side out and give it a good press. So I will do that here in a second as well. You're going to need a zipper foot and you're going to need a zipper. I'm going to use just a regular old nylon zipper, like what you'd put in a skirt. That's what I put into his seersucker pants. I mean, I just think it's enough. We don't need like a metal tooth really, because this is a nice pair of pants. And these are just a little easier so you don't have to worry about breaking a needle on the nylon zippers. So this is just your standard nylon coil zipper. It's longer than what I need, but that's okay. And obviously I've gone with navy. So that's what we're going to do next. So let's flip you over and we'll get this sewn in. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our pants fronts together, right sides together. And we can just pop pins throughout the entire crotch curve. I do this differently than the pattern, but this is just my favorite way to do a zip fly. So this is the way I do it. Okay, and then we're going to match these. I'm just going to pop one pin up here at the top. All right, so I'll take you to the machine, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to sew with a basting stitch, so like a 5mm length, from the top down to this dot, and then I'm going to cut threads. And then I'm going to start at the dot with my 2.5 stitch length and sew at my 3/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way from that point all the way down to the edge of the crotch curve. So let's go do that real quick. Okay, so now, like I said, I've got my back stitch turned off and I have my stitch length set at a 5, and I can just kind of see my line that I made here. I do want to catch part of that pocket in there. And then when I get to the zipper point or that notch, just going to stop. I've gone a little past it, but that's okay. And then I'm going to go to my 2.5 stitch length, turn my back stitch, and I'm going to back stitch at this point. And now we are just going to sew with our 3/8 seam allowance. The rest of the crotch curve. Okay, so we basted from the top here to the point, cut it, and then stitched our 3/8 of an inch all the way down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut from this point up to our that back stitch where we switch stitch lengths. Right up to that point, okay? And that's cut on the bias, so you don't really need to worry about that unraveling. But I'm going to take this to the serger and carefully just serge the seam allowance. And then I'm going to press this open. So I'm going to press my fly open and then press the rest of this to the left. So nope, left, to the left, just left. To the left as I'm looking at it and left when worn, okay? So that gets pressed open, and then this seam allowance that I'm going to serge gets pressed to the left, okay? So let's do that, and I'll meet you right back here. All right, so everything's pressed open. My seam down here at the bottom is pressed towards the left. So now I've switched over to a zipper foot. And what I'm going to do next is my zipper is right side down. So there's my zipper teeth, right side down. And I'm matching this side of the zipper tape up to that seam. I know it's kind of hard to see. Oh, let me turn my light on. Okay, so I've got my zipper. Everything's pressed open. I've got everything pushed to the left. Now I'm going to take my zipper right side down, and I'm going to line it up. Sorry, this is dark fabric. Line up the side of my zipper right to that seam, like so. I want my zipper stop to be, it can be right about where that little, about, I don't know, a half of an inch above the raw edge of the zipper fly. And I don't use pins because pins distort your zipper. Now, if you want, you could use Wonder Tape. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just pinch the fly, and I'm going to sew close to the teeth on the right side. So let's go to the machine and do that. So let me show you again. Our zipper is lined up. The left side of the tape it's face down, and it's lined up with the seam line of the pants. And my zipper stop is about half of an inch above the bottom of my fly. So I'm going to pick it up. So I'm just sewing through the fly piece, and we're going to sew on the right-hand side, right next to the teeth. Let's go do that. Okay, so again, I am only sewing through the fly, the left side of the tape, zipper's face down, left side of the tape's lined up with the seam, and I can feel the teeth under there, and I'm just running the edge of my zipper foot right along those teeth. And my stop here is about a half of an inch above the bottom of the fly. Oop. Caught on my serger thread. And we're going to sew all the way down. Okay. Now I'm going to take my zipper, and we're just going to flip it right side up. And that's going to fold that fly piece under. And now I'm just going to go right back down it, top stitching it in place. Okay. So that's what that looks like now. Okay. Let's go back above. All right. So I sewed it on the right side, and then we flipped it over, top stitched it down. Now we want to flop it, and it really does push itself over there, over to this other side of the fly piece. I know it feels like it shouldn't work, but it does. And now I'm going to go, you just want to make sure everything's nice and flat. And again, it just kind of pushes itself over there. And with just the fly piece, starting at the bottom, I'm going to sew real close to those zipper teeth on the other side, sewing it to just the fly piece. Okay, so let's go do that. All right, so again, it's just going to flop over to the left side, and I'm just going to pick it up. Sorry, trying to get the pants up on the table. And we're only sewing through that fly piece. I'm going to start at the bottom, and again, I'm just going to run my teeth or my foot right along the edge of those teeth. Okay. All right. Now, sorry, I keep hitting that. So now when we flip this right side up, everything pushes over to the side, and that's what we want. Okay. Let's go back over, and I'll show you where we're going to stitch next. Okay. So my zipper, everything is pushed over to the right side here, or left side when worn, but right side. So, no, that's left side when, yeah, left side when worn. Sorry. All right, so now you can mark this in if you want. I'm gonna top stitch this in place. I can feel the zipper tape or the teeth under here. So I'm just gonna sew on close to that with my zipper foot still. And then when we get to the bottom, I'm gonna curve around and then back stitch when I get to this seam line. So we're top stitching. Again, you can draw that in if you want. I always just eyeball it. But if that's something that you want to do, you can do that. So I'm just really quickly, you don't need to see me do this part. I'm just going to sew down, curve around, back stitch, and I'll meet you back here. All right, so I have top stitched that in place. One thing you want to note, my zipper stop, you can put a pin there if you want, is right here. You don't want to hit that with your needle, so make sure you know where that is so that you're sewing around and down underneath it. So there it is from the front. From the back, it's really hard to see, but you can kind of see where I've curved around there. Okay. So now we want our fly piece. So again, I sewed those right sides together around the curve, trimmed my seam allowance, turned it right side out, and now I've pressed it flat. I'm going to go to my serger and I'm going to serge this raw edge just really quickly, tuck my tails in here at the bottom. So let me go do that and I'll be right back. All right, so I've serged that off. So now we're just going to lay our fly shield and it goes over like so. It should match at the top. And we're just going to match this right side together, those serged lines. And I'm just going to sew those together. You know, I don't know, like a 3/8, maybe a quarter. You just want to connect them. And I'm just going to sew those until I sew off the end of the fly. But we're just sewing that edge just to the edge of the fly like so. So let me go over and sew that together real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've just connected them right here at, so there it's completely free here, but it's just connected here at this side. All right, and I still have a lot of zipper at the top. That's okay. Next, what we're gonna do is you wanna make sure that your fly is pushed over, so it's in place. And now we're just going to bar tack a little bit here, right here at the curves, and that kind of anchors it down here at the bottom. And then we're going to do some top stitching, and I'm going to come up and top stitch just to really secure the stress point that happens right here at the bottom. We still have everything basted. We'll undo that here in a second. But let's go to the machine, and I'll show you where I want to sew next. All right, I've put my regular foot back on the machine too. So if you recall, God, these pants are so much longer than like pants I'm used to making for myself. I keep stepping on the legs. All right, I can feel the shield back here. So I'm just gonna do a couple of back stitches right here at the corner. You could do an actual bar tack. If you're on a home machine and you have the bar tack function, you can definitely do that. Oops, just lost my light, sorry. Having issues with the light on this tripod. Okay, so I've just marked just a little bit right there. So that's put that in place, okay? Now I'm going to start at the crotch here, and we're going to top stitch this in place. I like to do this. This is a jean technique, but I really like to do this on regular pants too. It just really it helps the stress point that's here. So I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to top stitch up. Now my zipper stop is right here. So I want to go about even with that. And then I'm going to sew a box over and then we're going to go back down the other side. So let's do that really quickly. Okay, once I've top stitched that in place, I'm now going to back stitch here and back stitch up here. Or again, if you're on a home machine and you want to use your fancy bar tack, you can do that too. Okay, so now if I need to trim my threads here, got a little crazy. So there we go. We've got our fly that's all nice and secured. We can now come through here and open up that basting. You know, I don't have one right down here with me at the moment, but a pencil eraser really pulls out these little basting threads really easily. 'Cause man, oh man, those can be annoying. All right, so there is our fly. He can easily get in and out of those out of his pants. Um, I mean, from the back, the shield is secured here and it's secured up here, so he can still get the pants easily on and off. But at this step, my suggestion is to go ahead and unzip your fly because you don't want to accidentally cut the zipper off the top and not have your pull on there. So at this point, I usually leave these on until my waistband's sewn on, just in case something were to go awry. I don't cut them off quite yet. But yeah, unzip your fly at this point. So when you're putting your waistband and stuff on, you don't accidentally cut it off with the pole. I've done that on multiple occasions. So there you go. There's the fly. I'm now going to just put you on fast forward and sew the rest of these pants. Finished pair of Chino pants. They're very wrinkly because they've been through the ringer. But I actually have him here with me. So I'm going to show you just a real quick on his lower half here so you can kind of see what they look like. He doesn't have shoes on or anything like that. I'll do a more stylized video and all that kind of stuff when everything is together with the vest and the tie and the shirt and yada yada. Oh, we've got a thread. Weird. Okay, so let's take a look at the pants on him. All right, so there they are in all their glory. Obviously, he doesn't have shoes on. Do a spin for me. Yes, they fit great in the butt. How do the pockets feel? Can you stick your hands in the pockets? Nice and good. Okay. I think we have a winner. 2 pairs of pants ready for Italy and any other nice events we have this summer. All right, so there you go. We got a pair of second pair of Wardrobe by Me men's chino pants ready to go. So you've either already watched the vest and tie video, or that's next week. But yes, I think for now that may be it for the sew with me's, because now we're going to enter in. Maybe not. I may do some in May. We have a sew along coming up at the beginning of May. Actually, you're watching this on the 3rd. Well, you're either watching this on the 23rd or the 30th. I've got 2 videos planned. And then there will be a sew along going up for next Sunday, and that we're going to talk about. And then, yeah, then maybe we'll go back to some more sew with me's, maybe a couple of things for my daughter. And then I'm going to have a sew along for my daughter planned for, well, no, that may come in May. That may be the next thing that pops up in May. And then I have another sew along beginning of June. So yeah, we're just going to kind of play it by ear. Then maybe get some tutorials in. I haven't really decided what I want to do with the summer yet. If we're going to just do some sew alongs, tutorials, or if I want to do like summer shorts or something, where not shorts as in the YouTube shorts, but like just some little tutorials each Sunday in the summer, to kind of just take a breather as we all go into the summer. So I haven't really decided yet, but stay tuned on that. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys again on Tuesday.